Money Talks.
Money Talk.
Money Talks. Money Talks.
Hi, my name is Oyebola, President CFA Society Nigeria. Join me and a host of other financial industry practitioners every Monday at 4:30 p.m. right here on Inspiration 92.3 FM for Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria.
Money Talks, airing on this station every Monday at 4:30 p.m. Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria. Let's talk about money.
If you've made a decision to aim for a long-term and successful finance career, taking the Chartered Financial Analyst CFA exam and studying the curriculum is an excellent way to ensure you have a strong knowledge base and top-notch skills. Are you ready to take the bold step to invest in yourself? CFA Society Nigeria is at your disposal, promoting the highest standards of investment practice in Nigeria. As an affiliate of CFA Institute, CFA Society Nigeria seeks to promote the highest standards of investment practice in Nigeria and to provide a vibrant community in which its members and other key players in the investment industry can interact and grow. When you have the CFA Charter, you're globally recognized. Take advantage today by writing the CFA exam and joining us at CFA Society Nigeria. For more information, visit us at cfasocietyn.org. CFA Society Nigeria, making finance a force for good.
Money Talks.
Money Talk.
Money Talks. Money Talks. Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria. Let's talk about money.
Hello there and welcome to Money Talks. Money Talks is brought to you by CFA Society Nigeria and it's a financial literacy program of that organization, SMART. Uzechi is my name. You can call me Captain Smart. My guest on the program this evening is Michael Oyebola. Michael is a founder of moneycounselors.com and an independent non-executive director of RMB Nigeria Asset Management. He's also a 2020 alumnus of Morgan Stanley and has held significant roles throughout his career. With over 35 years of experience, he served as former MD/CEO of Chapel Hill Denham Management, former MD/CEO of FBN Quest Asset Management, and former Chief Investment Officer of GT Assurance, now AXA Mansard. He was also the pioneer and former head of investment at Crusader Sterling Pensions. Michael served in various capacities in the capital market, including as a past president of the Fund Managers Association of Nigeria, FMAN. He was the former chairman, Investment Management Subcommittee of SEC, and a former chairman, Subcommittee on Proposing a National Savings Scheme, amongst others. His education, qualifications and further learning include ASIP, Associate, CFA, UK and member of the CFA Institute, MSc Investment Analysis from Stirling University in Scotland, MA Finance from Middlesex University in London, etc. And this evening, Michael Oyebola will be discussing here investing in your future self with my very self here in the studio. Let's make him welcome in the studio.
Thank you.
Good evening to you, Michael.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. So get ready for this conversation this evening, investing in your future self. This one is really pregnant. Your future self. How you can make investment into your future self. You can call the telephone numbers when we open the phone lines in just a moment. As we just sojourn, you can call us on 0700 923 923 923, or you can send messages on WhatsApp. You can also record voice notes and send to us here, 0817 313 6193, the number 0817 313 6193, or drop messages for us all across the social media handles of CFA Society Nigeria on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and also you can reach them on X. www.cfasocietyng.org is the website. You can go there and get more information as well. investing in your future self is a point of conversation here with Michael Oyebola, starting in just a moment. Welcome back to Money Talks, brought to you by CFA Society Nigeria. Let's get straight into the conversation here, investing in your future self. So, Michael, can I start by asking you why is investment in a pension plan considered to be a critical aspect of investing in one's future self?
Because the general assumption is people live for now, but we also need to remember that we will grow older one day. I was once young, now I've got a bit of white hair, but what I do enjoy is that I'm living off a pension. So it is absolutely necessary. Now, I know there are challenges in the country at the moment, but no matter how small, there's something called the power of compounding. The more you, even how small you invest, if it compounds by 10% or 20%, and interest rates are sort of high in Nigeria at the moment, it is necessary to invest in your future self because you will retire at one point in time. And when you do that saving, your best part of doing it is via a pension scheme. Now, luckily in Nigeria, there was the Pension Reform Act of 2004, which was annulled and brought in the Pension Reform Act of 2014. And the 2014 Act is what drives the market at the moment. There are currently 10 million subscribers. So if you do subscribe or should get a pension, you will get the benefit of professional management. If you're working within an organization of 3 employees or more, you will have your contributions. On top of that, the benefit is your employer should also contribute their contributions. So you would contribute 8% of your total emoluments. Your employer will contribute 10%. That's making 18% of total of that. And as I said, you then get professional management. There are professional managers in the 19 PFAs that are out there managing the funds. It's also a discipline of saving money for the future. You can take that money when you're 50 if you decide to retire early, or you can continue to save it until you get to the day you want to retire. There's another proviso. If anyone loses their job for 3 months or more, actually 3 months or more, 6 months or more, you can tap into it and use it as a rainy day, but they will still keep the rest until you retire.
Okay, so I hear you say employment.
Yes.
So which means for that is automatic enrollment.
That's correct.
So now tell us about automatic enrollment in these pension plans you've talked about now, and the benefit it holds for the individuals who get automatically enrolled in it, the benefits that are there, and for individuals, and how can those who are not automatically enrolled be covered. By that I mean those who don't have a 9-to-5 job, those who don't have any employer, they're working for themselves and nobody's paying them salary. So how does it cover them?
Automatic enrollment is a word that they use, but the Pension Reform Act states that any employer with 3 or more employees should ensure that an employee has a retirement savings account. The onus is on the individual to go and open a retirement savings account with a pension fund administrator of their choice. As I mentioned, there are 19 PFAs, but they can only subscribe to 17 because I think 2 of them, the National University Pension Scheme is just for university, and the Nigerian Police Force is just for the police. So the other 17 PFAs are out there, and they will automatically be enrolled. If the individual does not enroll themselves, then the employer will enroll them. But the good thing about it is if they don't like it, they can change. Now, so that is for the organized private sector. For somebody who is self-employed or just does work by themselves, there's something called micro pensions. They call it micro because they were targeting the informal sector. But anybody who is not within the formal sector can actually open a retirement savings account. All they need to do is go to a pension fund administrator of their choice. fill in the forms. They have to do biometric checks and other forms of identity validation, and they will get a PIN number, which is a personal identification number, which is unique to every single individual. That is where all their contributions go, whether you're in the informal sector or you're in the informal sector or the formal sector. That is where your contributions will go. You will get a statement from your pension fund administrator on a monthly basis. We do recommend that you monitor the performance of your fund, because you're saving for your future self and you need to ensure that it's growing well. Now, one thing you need to also understand is that all pension fund administrators start equally, but as time goes on, via investment returns or via customer service or via IT and so on and so forth, some become more equal than others. And so from that perspective, we do recommend. I'm here because I'm also a founder of Money Counselors, as you said. Money Counselors is an independent website that actually provides all this information on every single PFA in Nigeria, and you can find the performance of all pension funds of that fund. So we do recommend that investing in your future self, open a retirement savings account with a pension fund administrator of your choice.
So there's so much to choose from. 17 out of 19. So we're narrowing down to 17. It's still quite a lot.
Yes.
So we're not trying to pry into money counselors.
Sure.
But since you're here,
Yes.
we'd just like to ask you, what are those things that prospective savers, should be looking out for before they choose, a plan for retirement? We're going to have 17 organizations to choose from.
Sure.
Do they offer different services? I mean, I'm a prospective. I want to save for my retirement. What are the things I should be looking out for in these places where I'm supposed to save my retirement?
Okay, yeah. So as I said, they all start on an equal footing. But just like buying a car, you possibly find that one car performs better at 0 to 60. So it's almost the same with the pension fund administrator. They all offer the same service. They offer you the ability to open a retirement savings account. They offer you the ability to review what is going on, their performance. They have customer service help desks. But within even just those three that I've mentioned to you, some would perform much better than others. You can pick up the phone and do a mystery shopper. Pick up the phone and just see how somebody responds to you on the phone. If you like it, fine. If you don't like it, pick up the next one and pick up the next one. But also, I think in my estimation, one of the best things you could look for is a consistent investment performance from that PFA. Now, they all invest in the same market, but it tends to be the skill of the investment manager in actually choosing the right investments under the correct risk parameters. And so we would recommend that in addition to customer service, in addition to attention to detail, even the technology in getting information to you, you should also look at the investment performance. And on a website out there, I will mention the name again.
Yeah.
On a website out there is information that will show you the performance of all these pension fund administrators. But you can also go to the National Pension Commission's website, where you can find information as well. But also, even on each individual pension fund administrator's website, they should provide you, according to regulations, the daily prices of their funds, the last 3 years cumulative returns. They should show it on their website. They should show you their asset allocation. And I would suggest that if you go to some of these websites and you don't find the information, just move to the next one, because in my opinion and the way I've seen things, some are very good at putting more information out there than others.
In case you're just joining us now, this is Money Talks, and Money Talks is a financial literacy program brought to you by CFA Society Nigeria. Michael Oyebola is the founder of moneycounselors.com. He is our guest on the program today, and we're discussing investing in your future self. In case you have questions or you have a contribution to make to the program, please do call us on the telephone 0700 923 923 923, or you can send us messages on WhatsApp 0817 313 6193. You can also record a voice note and send to us here, or call us on the alternate numbers 012771923. If you have questions about retirement savings, You can pension fund administrators and all of that. You can ask questions here and get free consultation with Michael Oyebola while he's here this evening. So, Michael, choosing the PFA also might not just be a problem for some persons. Some of these organizations, some organizations in Nigeria, they invest a lot of money and effort to try to attract people. By the time they get these clients, they become something else. What they promised, they don't deliver. So when somebody has chosen one of these organizations and then later on they discover that they are dissatisfied with the services they're getting from there, or this company is not actually what they told me that they were in the beginning, is it possible to, as we say, local parlance here, port to another PFA, or you want to change, you want to divorce this person, this organization, and get married to another, or is this till death do us part?
No, absolutely. You can change your pension fund administrator. If you've opened an account with the pension fund administrator, whether it's historically or whether you open it today, you can at some point in time port from one pension fund administrator. The onus tends to be on yourself to monitor what you want out of the pension fund administrator. Remember, you're investing in your future self. So if you are with a PFA and there are a number of things that you found are lacking, for example, as you've said, they signed you up and then you can't get hold of them, but normally you should get hold of them anyway. You can't get hold of them. The customer service is lacking in the thoroughness to answer your questions, the investment performance is not right, and so on and so forth. Then you can port. All you need to do is do a bit of research where you want to move to. So if you're with PFA A and you think, okay, I need to move, go and look at the other 16 PFAs and find out which one you want to move to. Now, I would suggest don't only look at the color of their brand, don't only just look at the investment performance, just take a number of metrics and you will find, I think out there is also a document, a brochure which says what to look out for in a PFA and the kind of things that you look out for, the products they offer. All of them should offer at least funds 1 to 4 and then fund 6A and 6R. All of them should have technology, be technology enabled. All of them should have a customer service desk. So try any one of them. Ask for information to be sent to you. How quickly is it sent to you? And if you can't, then move on to the next one. So yes, you can port. Now there's a proviso in that. Once you want to port, there are some things that you need to be in place. You need to have done your biometric testing because they need to ensure they're moving the right account. It will take up to about 3 months because the process of verification. And then once that is done, you can only move once in every 12 months. So you can't port today and port tomorrow. So if you move from one PFA to another, you will have to stay there for another year. But that also gives you enough time to review whether it is what you wanted, the performance and everything is there. And then if you don't like that again, just move. But just be careful. Filling forms is not easy because you will have to fill in forms.
Oh, wow. So now walk us through the buckets available for different categories of persons with retirement savings accounts. If you can explain that, or is it a one size fits all?
No, it's not. There are 7 different funds. If you're a new person subscribing or wanting to open a retirement savings account, you have an option. You have 3 options. There's Fund 1, and I'll describe that in a minute. There's Fund 2, and there's Fund 6A, which is non-interest. Now, Fund 1 to me, is normally for the very young, right, who can take more risk because they're allowed to invest up to 75% of non-variable instruments. And non-variable instruments are like equities, private equity, real estate. For Fund 2, that is the default fund. So if you don't choose a fund, the PFA will automatically enroll you into Fund 2. But the good thing about it is if you don't like Fund 2, you can move to Fund 1. Fund 6A is non-interest active for those who want ethical investments. That's what Fund 6A is. So those are first 3 if you're new. If you're in the informal sector, there's Fund 5, which is for micro pensions. So anybody who is enrolling from the informal sector will automatically just be put into Fund 5. And then there are three other funds which can be subscribed. It's not that you can subscribe to it, but once you get a bit older, past 50, they move you into Fund 3. Once you're in Fund 3, once you retire, they move you into Fund 4. Either Fund 4 or Fund 6R, which is for retirees. So there are explanations of all of them out there. All you need to do is look around for it. But if you have more information, I'm sure the CFA Society should be able to provide you that information.
You mentioned in the beginning that there are 10 million subscribers to this pension fund, and it is running to trillions of naira. That's correct. Yeah. And there are words going around that the federal government is borrowing from this fund. The federal government is borrowing from. Can you please clarify this?
Right. I'd like to make that analogy that it is not totally correct. Look, the funds come in and they have to be invested, right? If somebody says a fund manager invests in the stock market, you can't say that they borrow the stock market the money, right? There are instruments out there. What the federal government does, it issues bonds, right? Various bonds. It could be a 3-year bond, a 5-year bond, or a 10-year bond. In addition to that, there are corporate bonds as well. There's private equity, there's the Nigerian Stock Exchange, there's real estate, and so on and so forth. So it's not that they're borrowing the money. The pension funds are investing the money on behalf of the RSA holders just to get returns. And in a very good investment department within the pension fund administrator, of which a majority of them are CFA Nigeria members anyway, they are trained to choose and select the investments that are right for the time. And that is why you have those 7 funds that I described, and they will invest in there accordingly. Yes, there's about 18 trillion of assets under management. We believe that should even be more, because look, statistics say the working population in Nigeria is about 60 or 70 million. And we only have 10 million RSA accounts, which shows that there's another 40 or 50 million people out there that should open an RSA account. So if you haven't opened an RSA account, I suggest invest in your future, pick a PFA, open the RSA account, and invest for your own future.
So when you make investment, there are returns.
That's correct.
As the government invests this money, do they pay the account holders like interest on their investment, on their
Yes,
monies?
they do. That's correct.
They do.
Yes. So what the pension fund administrator does, there's an offer for a bond out there, let's say at a yield or a coupon rate of 18%. In Nigeria, they tend to pay those coupon rates every 6 months. So every 6 months, the federal government or the corporates will pay that interest rate based on 18% divided by 2. They'll pay 9% into the account. It'll be paid into the fund, and then it'll be prorated to every single RSA holder.
Oh, really? And then, now that you're talking about investment,
Yes.
they've invested my money.
Yes.
I hope when I want my money,
You will get
we'll
it.
have stories that touch. They'll say, oh, we made an investment. The investment has not matured. You have to wait. I hope
That is not going to happen, because the way the Pension Reform Act structured investments now, the pension fund administrator is now different from a pension fund custodian, right? So the pension fund custodian is responsible for holding all those assets. So when the pension fund administrator makes an investment decision, they ask, for example, if they give the instruction to a broker, the broker will execute that transaction, but they deliver the assets to the pension fund custodian. So if anything ever happens to the pension fund administrator, the assets are still secure within the pension fund custodian. And they actually ring-fenced. Now, the largest pension fund custodians tend to be the largest banks in Nigeria. There are currently 3 pension fund custodians, which is First Pension Custodian, UBA Custodian, and Zenith Custodian. As you possibly know, there were some of the largest banks in Nigeria. Even though they are part of the bank, the assets are ring-fenced totally away from the assets and liabilities of the bank, right? So the pension fund custodians are standalone entities, and the assets are usually kept with them.
Wow. In case you still want to make some clarifications, I can understand how people feel when you talk about pensions and retirement, but you can still ask questions. 0700 923 923 923. You can also call 01 277 2923 or 01 277 1923. You You can also send messages on 08173136193. When you talk about savings or retirement savings and pensions, Nigerians tend to shy away from it because they will tell you that this one, they have started talking about retirement savings and pension, leaving something behind. Are you sure somebody's not planning to die? So they think it is for somebody who wants to die or something. So the question there is, can somebody opt out? Maybe even if you're working in a corporate environment, can you say, I don't want to do pension savings?
Unfortunately not. We spoke about auto enrollment, so you will be enrolled in it. But even if you walk up to me and say, should I opt out, I will advise you not to, because we will all get old. I mean, the prayer point of everybody is that we get old. You don't want to get old and then you don't have money to live off, right? When my parents were growing up, the children looked after the children. The cost of living today doesn't even allow children to look after their parents and so on and so forth. So I would say take that responsibility, invest today, no matter how small, because it grows and grows and grows. And then you will find that, look, you don't rely on anybody, even in your retirement. So it is advantageous to save, to continue to invest, let your pension fund grow, and you will be surprised. I have a simple example that at my early part of my career, I was contributing a very, very small amount. Okay, it wasn't in this country. But I think 10 years later, even though I'd moved it somewhere else, my old boss called me and said, look, we're moving the pension fund from an in-house scheme somewhere else. And I was amazed at how much that is, and so on. So I will implore people that no matter how small, invest. If you're in the informal sector, you also actually need to save, because at any point in time you will want to retire. Put your feet up and just look after the grandchildren.
It's very instructive, because if you hear the way these Gen Zs are sounding now, they don't want to look after anybody.
That's correct.
It's all man for himself.
That's correct.
So people should not depend on their children, so to speak. Correct. Finally, Michael, is to ask, some organizations, after making deductions from staff salaries and emolument, they don't remit these monies to these pension funds. They've taken the money from their employees, but they don't remit them. The people who are affected by this, what can they possibly do?
What I would suggest is always keep a copy of your pay slips, right? Every month, go and check your RSA account with your pension provider. If it is not remitted, the National Pension Commission has a helpline. Just send an anonymous email, or even with your mail, who your employer is, what you expected them to have remitted, and just leave it with them. They will go after. But I think even sometimes before you do that, ask your employer that, have you done the remittance? If they haven't, 1 month, 2 months, then report it to the National Pension Commission, or even report to your PFA, and your PFA should pick it up on your behalf.
And for those of us who've been working for a very long time, like in the days of NSITF, with all their manual records that time, when you do not even know how much you have saved up as for pensions, how does it work? The migration from that time to now that you have these pension fund administrators.
The NSITF became trust fund, and there may be some records there. I really don't know too much about that, but if anybody has any paperwork from their side that has shown any deduction, that is the starting point of tracing it. So I would suggest that they contact Trust Fund. If not, contact the National Pension Commission. They should be able to give you instructions on how to go about finding it.
Thank you very much. We've had in the studio here today Michael Oyebola. He's the founder of moneycounselors.com, and he's been talking to us here this evening on investing in your future self. I'm sure you've learned quite a lot as to pension fund and its administration on the program this evening. For further inquiries, you can check out the website of CFA Society Nigeria, www.cfasocietynг.org.